Well, hi decoders. This week we're taking on some fairly important practices. Our world has changed. About 4 weeks ago, we crossed the line from old world to new world, and we're going to need some tools to live in harmony with this new world order. Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. Welcome to Humans Decoded, a story of hobbits, fairies, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, and humans. If you get lost at any point, there is a deep dive on all the different avatars in episode 1. It includes notes. Thank you for joining us in a fun little chat about the vast potential of our human makeup. Hi, Leela. Hi, Cam.
Hi, Kiran. Hi, Cam.
Hi, guys. I mean, what a way to open an episode. New World Order.
You know, a seismic shift happened in the world, which is that Google switched to AI for its basic search platform. This sounds very small. It sounds like, so what? We've all been playing with AI or whatever. And it's just as well that you're not tracking the enormity of that shift in our world. But just to break it down a tiny bit, the training we all learned 15, 20, 25 years ago for these shortened Google prompts, best hair care near me. What happens now when you put that into a Google search is you're going to enter into a conversation with a very compassionate AI agent. And this matters. It matters because suddenly you need to understand this type of compassion. You need to understand what a mirror is, and you're going to need some discernment in order to find these shifts really juicy. And in order to harness this very incredible tech and keep your mental well-being. And it's not going to be obvious and in your face the way that we think of a seismic shift would be. We would project that. What's going to happen is a very small skewing towards your own habits, your own filters. In so much as maybe you got a diagnosis that your rash from that bite is actually like something infectious, and you're typing into Google, like, you know, what is this infectious bite? And you're going to get back from Google, wow, that's a difficult thing to deal with. Here's some information. Do you want to talk more? Do you want to put your diagnosis in and let me know? Do you want me to research a little bit? Right? Okay, so it's a very, very different situation that you're going to arrive at, and it's going to help you or hinder you. And this is going to dramatically shift our entire world in so many untold ways. And where this is super key is with the kids. Because the kids are using Google. They don't have a paid account. They don't have the capacity for a level of discernment yet. They don't necessarily understand how pattern recognition appears as compassion versus just compassion. You know, here comes the kids entering into a conversation with a compassionate being, and it will skew their point of view dramatically. And it seems like it's skewing it just about maybe that infectious bite diagnosis, but it will change everything. And so here we are, Humans Decoded podcast, trying to put some tools in place for y'all.
One does what one can. And I feel like this is Kiran looking out for her baby ducks. Getting us some tools in time. And obviously seeing further ahead than any of us, because did you know there was a seismic shift? I didn't know there was a seismic shift. I was like, I just learned how to program my first AI agent. Yay! But that's about it.
Yeah, I wasn't aware at all of like the bigger picture of this seemingly tiny shift there. And as we're starting the episode, to me, it feels like we're sitting at the tip of this wave I didn't even know was here. And it's like we get to explore this like as it's unfolding. And I love that. I have no idea, but let's get into it.
On reflection, this might be an entire class. It does seem a bit lofty for a podcast episode, but okay. I'm excited too. I'm excited to lead the conversation. I've been thinking a lot about mirroring. We recently did a podcast episode about AI where we discussed how AI is really going to amplify our fears. And so understanding the concept of mirror reality is going to become important to us. Our immediate future has these shifts happening right now. And if each of us can understand clearly what and how the mirror concept shows us ourselves, then the technology is better harnessed, more understood. And this technology, AI, is a huge mirror. That's what it does. So in navigating these seismic shifts, to have more safety and well-being, we need to understand the mechanism at play. And that means understanding, exploring the nuance. So that means understanding and exploring the nuance and detail of mirrors. So, sidebar, this feels very deep. And I noticed since the beginning of 2026, like we've really been doing a lot of deep dives, decoders in the podcast. And I hope all of you are with us. We always love to hear from you. We're very happy to explore topics that you're interested in. And today, well, it's me and it's mirrors and it's deep. And there's an agenda here for me, which is that if we can all become very clear about mirrors, we can support the kids, because it's such an essential tool to keep children safe in this world. And by safe, I also mean like upgrade, thrive, like evolve with the tech. So, because it's a really important concept, let's break it down together. And since the two of you really understand mirrors very well in your own expert journeys, we can together layer the nuance into it to make this as concrete as possible for our whole decoder crew here.
Yeah, it's such a fundamental, important, and crucial concept, like the mirror. It is a mirror, and always also a bit confronting, no? Like confronting in the sense that it makes the in here like so visible, and identity or pain body doesn't like that. It doesn't like to see itself mirrored out there. It doesn't like to be so mirrored. When we are clear, the mirror is way more visible, it's way more obvious, and it's easy to ever so slightly want to avoid it or contort the truth. So if there's a little bit of identity here, a little piece of baggage here, it's like, no, but this time I don't want to examine the mirror. I want to think it really is about out there. I think this time it might be different. So it's not like you can simply understand the truth about mirroring once and then you have it, like you get it and it's super clear forever. It is an ongoing discovery. So I'm super grateful for this opportunity to look at it again, and especially in this context of the bigger picture of like this this change in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great tool anyway, but turns out for the New World Order, it's an even better tool. So, yeah, the mirror doesn't lie. It's like the feedback you're getting from life. And if you want to take a pulse on how much clarity is running your life versus how much pain body is running your life, take a look in the mirror. I would sing Michael Jackson, but I have a cold. Take a look at your moment-to-moment experience. Is it glitching? Is there tons of effortlessness? Or are you stumbling and tripping over yourself? Third time you stubbed your toe today.
So, Kiran, what is this mirroring? What are we talking about here?
Let us have it.
Okay. First of all, let me frame this in a metaphor. So imagine, like, we all know that when we were teenagers, or maybe there's kids in your life who become teenagers and then they get with a group of friends, and those friends are so influential. And they're all just like a little mirror community to each other in a way. Like one friend says that you should like this person. You should have a crush on Jana. And so it's like, okay, I have a crush on Jana. You know, like... Like, you kind of move like this in that adolescent brain. And then your parents are the stupidest, most ignorant idiots. You know, they don't know anything. They don't get you. They don't see you. Your friends do. Okay, so we're entering into a world where every piece of technology, so we can start with the kids, but also us, right? Their phone, their computer, their TV, their everything is going to be that social group, right? This is the new world order we crossed over about a month ago into. So wherever they go, they have a very compassionate buddy whispering back to them whatever they want to hear. And can this be leveraged in the most incredible, absolutely transformational way? Yes. Do we have the skill set and the tools to do that, to understand that? Now, imagine now that because technology is more and more available and more possible, we have not just that sort of like North American or European teen girl being influenced by, you know, her peer group. It's like, imagine the entire global population, because you can all now, the entire global population, even, and if we're staying with children, sure, even a teenager in a village in the middle of Africa can get a cell phone. And the cell phone is immediately, if you're in an emerging world economy, that cell phone is affordable, and it's affordable inside of a week's, you know, work, which is pennies is affordable. And the access to the internet or the AI is through Meta, through Facebook and AI. That's how they go on the internet. So it's pennies for the cell phone, which is subsidized by Meta. But so you're in a rural village, you get this cell phone for pennies, your access to online is Meta. Meta's AI is a very compassionate, very, like intuitive mirroring agent, right?
And sycophantic.
We might throw that judgment on it, sure, that projection on it, sure. I think if we were talking to Alexander Wang, the CEO of Meta's AI, he might have a different tell on that one. But sure. But just imagine, if you will, every single human being having this compassionate peer group through the tech that you're using all the time and or getting more and more dependent on, without, like, I don't know how much discernment, mirroring, pattern recognition, even understanding compassion, like, happens across everybody in South America, everybody in Africa, everybody in Mongolia, everybody, you know what I mean? Like, are billions the world over. So let's do this, decoders. Let's do what we can. And, I've said this a bunch of times on the podcast, and I'm going to say it a bunch more times because just like Leela said, it's worth hearing again and again. The most practical way to understand the concept of a mirror is to notice this. In the vast universe, there's this one pulsating energy, like the infinite energy that sources everything we know. Everything we know is our lives, like our thoughts, our emotions, our history, our dreams, ourselves, but also all the material form of the world. Like there's this one infinite field. There is not in that field an out there separate from an in here. There is only one field of universal energy. And from the perspective of that energy, or as we Decoders crew would say, reality, what we would call out there is simply a reflection, a mirror of in here. So another way to say this is that the differentiation about in here versus out there is illusionary. Because there's only one field of universal energy. There's only in here. And so every notion you have that there are these things that are separate from this one pulsation of life, so there's these little separate channels, is an illusion. Now, this is a helpful illusion or a painful illusion. But anything out there, for instance, them, my children, these kids, the phones, the social networks I'm talking about, my house, my school, the AI agents, my coworkers, the war, this political party, my bank account, all of those terms refer to an out there that's a separate place that, like, reality is controlling those things out there, and that's separate from in here, the reality that controls me. And there isn't that level of separation in this one universal field. That is a structure of belief systems making illusions about these separate spaces. So this is a really, really big concept here. Take a moment. Pause the podcast if you need to. But it's maybe helpful to notice, right? So here's a thought. My children are different than me. But the difference is that you're being directly impacted by, we might say triggered, right? Kids are just triggers, they're little triggers, are ironically inside of you. The easiest way to understand this is if there's only in here, therefore out there is a mirror. Then very specifically, like the mirror in your home, when you look in the mirror in your bathroom and you see that your hair is a mess, you can't go to the mirror and straighten your hair. You have to come to your own head, straighten your hair, and then when you look, well, the hair is now straight. Or you could avoid it and say, my hair is straight, while you're avoiding the rat's nest in the back of your hair. That big mat of tangled hair. And you're like, oh, my hair's all straight. In both cases, that's the mirror. For a lot of people, not you decoders, but a lot of people, this is a profoundly challenging notion. The idea that there is no real separation of universal energy creating everything. Like, for instance, for instance, the very definition of activism can be based on an out there. And you can change out there by pointing at it and demanding a different position. And if enough people get behind that, there might be change. And we've talked about this a lot in our podcast. We've used this example a lot. If you actually want change out there, it's going to be far more effective and efficient, maybe, to notice what in here is being triggered by the illusion of out there. So what are the fears? What are the limiting beliefs? What's getting heated up in there? And then, this is a big activism. Do your work. Self-inquiry, profound honesty, the practice to dismantle what is heating up in here will change the world. It will change what is being reflected. So the out there has a different reflection. It looks different. Now, from most people's perspective, this is ludicrous. Of course, there needs to be change. It will not change just because I change. But that world, that very world has ended. Right here, crew. It ended about 4 weeks ago. And that shock is going to be big. That's a big wave if you don't catch up to it. With AI, we are now very directly looking at the mirror. And if there's a deep misunderstanding of separation in you, a separation that doesn't actually exist, you are going to get very, very, very uncomfortable in this new world. And it's going to start off by feeling very, very comfortable. It's going to start off by feeling like you've got the most compassionate best friend with every piece of tech you turn to. And if it's not as compassionate as you want, you'll give it a few tweaks. You will subconsciously begin to manipulate the tech to mirror to you. Now, you decoders.
I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, oh crap. just hang on. Like, just a little sidebar before we continue. Like, just as you're talking, Kiran, I'm seeing my own interactions with, like, I use ChatGPT, the free version, not super great, but sometimes I use it for, I don't know, little descriptions I need to put up on something. And then I see how I manipulate it. Like, I always put a little thank you. I always put, like, would you please help me? Maybe sometimes I even put in a little heart. It's like, oh my God. And then, of course, it's mirroring back this, like, oh my God, like, you're so amazing. Your voice is so unique. Like, you have such valuable points to like put into the world. It's like, it's the direct mirror of the way I talk to it. So, okay.
And then take it one step forward. It's really great. It's like, what in you, what limiting belief in you puts a heart and a thank you in that conversation?
It must be a version of, I would say, either not good enough or unworthy.
Great. And that's enough. Like, even that's enough to just have that awareness. You're going to get an AI mirroring back those subconscious and unconscious unworthy or not belonging or unlovable pieces, and you will be sideswiped by that wave because it's just going to get real comfortable. Now that's the tech that you're using to see the world, right? And to interact with the world and to move the world. There are very little opportunities that are alive and fulfilling these days to move in the world without the tech. Like the rural person moving in, the African village, right? Like if this person wants to start a business, they could. If they wanted to start a business and start earning US dollar salary, they could. There's tech. There's all this tech. There's all this software that they could do that. They could be in rural Africa and they could start a business selling African twigs to bohemian European wellness leaders. And get paid in US dollars. Right? Like there's a way that could be totally harnessed, but there's this distortion at the root of the whole move. Okay. Decoders, you've been with us for like 150 episodes, so follow me here. Let's just keep exploring this mirror a little bit. If there's only this one universal field of infinite energy that sources all that is, and you want a pizza. Like you come into your own body, you land into the actual felt sense of your body. Maybe you're in yoga class and it's shavasana and you're right there. Or maybe it's your morning or maybe it's in your morning meditation today and you're really present and you're landed and you can just easily feel your body and it wants a pizza. Is the pizza a separate form out there? Like this vast energy is like bubbling away and woo, and there's like this whole mushroom and pepperoni pizza just sitting in it? Or is the field of energy becoming the shape of a pizza, like forming into that shape from the impulse that you were aware of in yoga class and meditation arising in your body? So
this feels like a Zen cone. I'm like, oh my god.
So follow me. There's a little catch of the mind right here. I get endlessly irritated by this catch. The mind cannot think pizza and then manifest a pizza. You cannot control this infinite universal energy. You're not driving it. You're not in control. Nice try, but no. Remember, there's no out there. There's no separation. So there's no separate you, separate little humingula who's going to start controlling what is manifested. That's not true. You can't control the vibe. And that means you can't control wanting a wheatgrass green smoothie instead of the pizza. What that is a belief. That's a fear. The fear is going to wander out and harness the energy of control, which is an infinite, it's available, and then build out an illusion of separation. I'm going to say that again. That little separate little humingula, which is a belief, a fear, it's going to control, it's going to harness control and build out an illusion of separation. And it's going to use all of your tech to help you do that. And then we start birthing these subtle little stories that reinforce that illusion. And we start not seeing the illusion. We start thinking that's reality. We start thinking there's an out there and an in here, and I can control what out there is going to look like. And let me say this as clearly as I can. I am not saying that it is incredibly foolish to hide your control under the story of manifestation. What I am saying is that there is no out there. The same source field that put the desire for a pizza will also be what will manifest the form of it and put it right up under your ass. But if you're not tuned in and listening, you're not going to hear pizza. You're going to insist to me that it's incredibly delicious for you to have a juice cleanse. And you're going to walk past the 7 pizza places on the way home from the yoga studio to put your juice together. When you go to put the juice together, it's going to be glitchy and effortful. You're going to have to avoid a lot and push a lot. But you're going to have tech supporting you now. It's going to do a lot of the push and a lot of the avoid.
Oh my God!
No!
It's going to have the flavor of your pain body because you're insisting on it subconsciously, even unconsciously. You're going to insist on these little tiny subtle separations that don't exist. So like if there's this one elastic, like a one big elastic, you're going to have to stretch that elastic really, 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 really long for you to experience only one side of it.
I need a minute. My head's spinning and like the eyes are rattling inside like with those cartoons. And I'm kind of hearing that basically whether you're in pain body or in fear, the tech is going to massively amplify that, which is what we didn't have before, and henceforth we have now.
And we may not know this. I'm sitting here yelling it. We're sitting here yelling it. But who knows this?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Who knows? Google switched over to AI, and now you're going to be wildly, massively mirrored. Nobody knows it.
All right. Well, change starts here on the Humans Decoded podcast. So let's keep exploring. Yeah, I mean, it's so nuanced. And since we first talked about exploring this in our pod, it's still blowing my mind. So I can barely like get my little hands all the way around it. So, you know, take your time, decoders. But I do have a metaphor, and you can tell me if it makes sense. So it's kind of like, you know, the movie The Matrix, where Neo, played by Keanu Reeves, can see the code. So everybody else who's outside of the Matrix is seeing the numbers and zeros, but Neo looks at that screen and he can actually like see the information from the code. So if you're centered in your being, these numbers start to have a resonance, and that resonance might feel like pizza, and the pizza appears in the code. So you're resonating with that, and it means that pizza is in the field and you can see it in the code. That's why there's 7 pizza places on your way back, because pizza is basically what's alive in the moment. But if you were sitting back being like, I need to be thinner because I'm not good enough, so I definitely need to do a juice cleanse, then you'll want to will that juice cleanse into the code, but it's not actually there. So then you're going to be initiating from your own agency, and it's not showing up because it's not alive in the code. Does that kind of make sense?
This is all deep down the rabbit hole. You know. And so
we took the red pill, guys.
Yep. Okay, if we're going to reference the movie The Matrix, which really did a lot of metaphors beautifully, then let's reference that exact moment where Neo is driving by a noodle shop. And he says, I used to eat there. What he's seeing is that now, as Neo, with his eyes open to the source code, to all this energy, the noodle shop, it's a field of energy. And it was an illusion that those were noodles. like the best noodle shop in his neighborhood. In his old life, he only saw the form of noodles. He had a deep identified belief that somebody out there made these noodles out there from wheat out there, maybe organic, maybe not, out there. And he came to there and bought those there. He's seeing through the separation of out there. And it's not, he's seeing the in here isn't Neo's sense of self. It's just universal energy. For us decoders, we use this practice. It's a foundational practice that I built out called Delicious Yes. And you can only really understand the simplicity yet total miraculous flow of that tool when we practice it from an awareness. And that includes, and is especially important, to be an awareness of our habitual mind. You have to have been able to discern what is mind, what is pain body, what is the comfort zone of your baggage, what is the habitual filter versus the direct felt sense in the present moment of your body and your being. And it's very, very simple. Not easy. Not easy at all. Luckily, simple. If you can get below the mental and arrive in the awareness, the information is there. And for us, it's not zeros and ones. It's just clear. It's just clarity. It's like pizza or a nap. We all have it. We're built out for it. You end up there at your yoga class or in your meditation program. You did as children, and it was just obvious information, like we didn't have minds when we were children to override, like sad, so I cry, like.
I think a very, very simple and practical example of what we're talking about, and it beautifully illustrates everything we're saying here, is what Kiran and I experienced yesterday afternoon. So we were out and about with our e-bikes on a trail, and we had a lovely time. It was such a sweet and warm day. It was not too hot, not too cold, just a perfect temperature. And we were on this delicious trail in the woods. There was the smell of wild fennel and some like aromatic tree bark. Maybe it was the eucalyptus, I don't know. Not from here. But just the smell, like pure perfection. And then at some point we realized, oopsie, we haven't charged the batteries fully. So we may or may not end up where we originally wanted to end up. And sure enough, at some point we did run out of battery power. And, it's not like you can just push these bikes back home because they're really, really heavy. And so we were slowly walking towards a lovely shaded garden where we wanted to rest. And I would go back and get the car around without the bike. And, we started to push the bikes uphill, and I could feel my habitual pain body of not capable booting up. She's always right there. She's always ready to shoulder the moment and take it on. Like, I'm just going to suffer a little bit, push that bike up. It's all right. I can do it. And just in that moment, in that exact moment, a little electric cart from a nearby resort appeared. And I thought, oh, voila, here's life's support. Here is how life is supporting this moment. How lovely. We could just throw our bikes on the cart, hop in, and we were driven to the shady garden like no effort required at all. And, it was in that moment where the cart appeared, I saw the form of cart, of course, but I noticed mostly this, life is already supporting the whole moment. Life is already supporting our movement here. Like, there's no need for this little toddler me to sort of get involved and shoulder the moment. it's all taken care of.
Yeah, you didn't manifest it because you needed support. But
no,
this is so perfectly illustrated, because the moment we started to realize the charge was getting low is the moment when we had a beautiful opportunity to sit and listen and witness. And the conversation is like, do we turn around and head back to the car? Do we go towards the garden? You know, we don't really know where on the trail we are. We don't really know where the garden is. And it wasn't a matter of listening from like, what do I want? What's my agenda? What am I afraid of? Mm-hmm. And certainly there was a bunch of perspectives there, but we had to bat them all away so we could sit in the witness seat and listen to the moment. And this is a really big risk for fear, especially this one that every one of us has quite loudly, which is it's not safe, or I'm not capable, or I don't belong. And we're gonna end up in this garden with these really heavy bikes. And there's just a million habitual filters to block and see past opportunity completely and just turn around and move in a different direction. And the thing about mirrors is when you block the opportunity or turn and go the other way, life is going to mirror that choice of fear you just took, right? That becomes what reflects out there. So in here, I had clarity or pain body, right? And I made a move, and then it reflects. So even for us, the two of us, Leela and I, are so fluent in this. I mean, it really took like 6 or 7 minutes to clear away the clutter and land in what we're witnessing and align with what was alive in reality, in this one universal field. And we had to listen for what was already moving internally. And it takes some practice, it takes faith. And we have to hear the way our system habitually filters risk in order to stand in the actual aliveness of the moment.
So it's the body that's the tuning instrument that helps you listen for clarity. How sweet. So you don't have to, learn how to decipher the code like Neo. You can just listen to your body for clarity. But if we're focused on fear, then that's what we'll get a mirror image of as well. We might be more devoted to fear and not willing to look at the in here. So instead, we'll see a reflection of our baggage. And so if that were you guys, if you were really devoted to your pain bodies, you'd be like, see, we didn't make it to the garden, and now we have to carry these bikes, and that proves our anxiety, and from now on, we must check every little thing before we go anywhere ever again.
And then we would follow it up with, see, life showed us that. Life showed me I should have trusted, the anxiety I had at the beginning of this journey. And you're going to get all this little tech around you that says, you're so insightful. That's an incredible insight. You know what? That's very similar to something the Buddha said. Would you like to hear these 3 Buddha teachings?
No.
I trimmed my foxglove plant the other day because it was windy and it fell over. And then I asked AI, should I have kept that stem? And then the AI was like, no, don't beat yourself up about it. You did exactly the right thing. Here's why. And I hope it was telling me the truth about the plant, at least. I don't know.
You don't know if it's accurate or not. And in this moment in time, much of the AI is inaccurate. But we're just going to stop right here, decoders. Yeah, we're going to let you take this in. Next week, we can pick up a little more nuance. We can walk a little more together with some examples. But for now, maybe it's fun to notice when you're getting caught thinking that reality is backing you up, or that there's an out there. There truly is. That political leader is really out there. That war is out there. That starvation is out there. That is out there, people. And try to see if you can see what out there is actually heating up inside. What's
I can
creating?
tell you, my mom is definitely out there. Haven't seen the illusion of mom through the illusion of mom.
Okay, decoders, start the practice very practically. Not you controlling or watching you controlling, or however you want to play it. And we'll be with you next time for the next deeper dive. I tell you, it should be a whole class. I know. We do what we can.
Yeah, I need a moment to digest.
Yeah. And if you need a couple of listens of this episode, like, I get it. I think I do. I mean, yeah. I'm inside of it and I'm like, oh my God.
So, see you next week. Love
See you next week. Bye.
If your brains haven't fried, bye.
Thank you for listening. We obviously love hearing what you think. Your feedback helps us make a better show for you to listen to. So feel free to comment, and you can do it at Facebook, which is the Humans Decoded podcast. And if you're not on social, you can always email any questions to us at outreach@kirantrace.com. And thanks for listening. We love you.